So I'm subscribed to the Young Turks on YouTube, and if you're not subscribed to them, I don't know why not. Like, I love them, but I wanted you guys to listen to something with me, and then we shall discuss, because 2 different videos have to do with this GOP and the abortion and all this bullshit, and again, men making decisions for women. But just listen to this fuckery, please.
After the Todd Akin debacle, a person by the name of Shauna Prewitt, who is a lawyer, wrote this blog for CNN.com. And in the blog, she talks about her own personal experience with rape. After she was raped, she did become pregnant, and she decided to have the baby, and she had a little girl that she loves and is happy with her decision. But even though she made that decision, she has to deal with consequences that people don't really think about. And that consequence is that the father of the child wants to have custody of it.
You know, I honestly, I didn't think of that at all. And I was blown away by this article and by the concept. So, you know, as she points out in her article, 31 U.S. states allow men who father through rape to get custody and visitation rights to their children. Oof. Can you imagine? And then she went on to explain that this puts an extra conundrum on the women, because then those guys have leverage.
Yep.
And they get into a situation where they say, well, you could testify against me, but then I would want visitation rights. Or maybe I drop the visitation rights request if you don't testify. Oh, how disastrous is that? I mean, under what logic could these states possibly give visitation rights to the fathers who got the kids through rape? I mean, you want to talk about a bad parent? My God, if you drink the wrong way, you do anything slightly wrong now, they take your kids away. You're telling me, I mean, I know that's an exaggeration, but you know what's really bad? If your father was a rapist and raped your mom, okay? So this is nuts. And nonetheless, the Republicans say, no, 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 it's okay, have the rapist kid. Look, apparently 30% of women choose to have the kid anyway, which I'm blown away by. I can't believe that.
That is an incredible statistic. 2 different studies indicate that 30% of women decide to have the baby even if they were raped.
But that is their choice. It's not my choice. They want to make that. I understand that, right? But for the Republicans, they think, no, we don't want you to have that choice. The Personhood Amendment, for example, and another 2009 act that, by the way, Paul Ryan and Akin co-sponsored, would say that even in the case of rape and incest, in fact, the GOP platform that they just passed 2 days ago says even in the case of rape and incest, it doesn't matter. You must have the kid. That 2009 act makes it criminal if you have an abortion, even if you were raped. Mm-hmm. So then get a load of this. You get raped, you have to have the rapist kid, and then if you don't, they put you in prison. But if you do have the kid, then you're tethered to the rapist for 18 years. You got to see him over and over again as he has visitation rights in 31 different states for your kid. It's mind-boggling. How could anybody vote for these people?
I know. Look, as I read this story of hers and as she, you know, laid out the facts, I tried to ask why this happens. Like, why is it that we have these laws that protect the rapists as opposed to those who have been raped, right? Like, why would you give these men visitation rights? And I think that it goes to the argument that a lot of, you know, hateful people like Todd Akin say about legitimate rape. Maybe these guys out there think, well, you know, we don't know if she was legitimately raped, so why are we going to take this man's child away from him?
Bingo. And it's about perspective, too. Mm-hmm. They always look at it from a male perspective. And they think, oh, man, I wouldn't want my child taken away. And look, you know, there's date rape, there's marital rape. Dr. Wilkie, the guy who they quote all the time, where they got these crazy rape ideas and abortion ideas from the first place. Well, he says, obviously, marital rape doesn't count. He says it in his book, right? So, you know, and what they always say, and what they say in regard to Roe versus Wade, too, and Huckabee talked about it when he had Akin on his program just the other day, saying that, you know, these women, they often lie. And so they could be lying, and then you take away the poor father's visitation rights. I don't know. But look, this is not a thing, it'd be proven in a court of law. You don't just say, oh, yeah, I think that guy did something wrong. I don't want to give him visitation rights. No. It's proven in a court of law, a jury of your peers, a judge, et cetera, et cetera. But it's because they don't care, Anna. They don't care.
They don't care. And also, you have to keep in mind, first of all, a lot of rape is unreported in the U.S. And I know why it's unreported. It's because it's tremendously difficult to prove that you've been raped. Okay? Because, of course, that man has to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And it's difficult when it's a game of he said, she said. So even if she said no, even if there was a physical altercation where she tried to push him off, how do you prove that? That's a very difficult thing to prove.
Yeah, so you heard it. 30% of women that are raped and then impregnated actually decide to keep the baby. And rapists have rights. They can get visitation and custody of this child, even if it's from rape. And yeah, 30% is a big number, but with the GOP and Atkins, Mitt Romney, and Paul Ryan, what they're trying to do is say that you have no choice. Because if you do get pregnant, even if it's from rape, and you go and get an abortion, you're going to jail. Like, this is who people are actually going to put in office or try to put in office. Women have no rights. And, like, I don't even want to make it political, but it is political. Obama is saying that we should have freedom of rights. We should be responsible for our own choices, which we should. He has 2 daughters, so he knows if something happened like that to his daughters, and say Sasha goes out and gets raped, and there's nothing legitimate about it, but she should have the choice to either keep it or abort this baby. I know that there is stronger women in this world than I am, because there's no way I could be of that 30%. There's just no way. And that is my own personal choice, because I can't raise this child knowing that it wasn't conceived out of love. And I guess that 30% of women look at it as a blessing, which in all actuality it is. But look how that blessing came about. Like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be the 30%. I just couldn't. Okay, so not only that, babe, give me my little computers. Okay, so I've also been reading up on, like, where Todd Akin, however the fuck you say his name, where he actually got his information from. And can you believe it was from a study in 1972 from a Dr. Mecklenburg? Okay, I'm going to read you some of the things that were in this report from 1972, 40 years ago, okay, which still wasn't true 40 years ago, but this is what this fool decided to take and run with. Alright, so I'm on the WashingtonPost.com, right? And the name of this report is called The Indication for Induced Abortion, a Physician's Perspective. Okay. They said that this paper that this doctor wrote has influenced 2 generations of anti-abortion activists, hoping to build a medical case to ban all abortion with no exceptions. Like, rape, incest, it doesn't matter. Alright, in Mecklenburg's article, he wrote that pregnancy resulting in rape is extremely rare, and cited as an example the city of Buffalo, New York, which had not seen a pregnancy from confirmed rape in over 30 years. Other cities like Chicago, Washington, and St. Paul also had experienced lengthy spells without a rape-caused pregnancy. This is from Mecklenburg's report. Not all rapes result in a completed active intercourse, Mecklenburg wrote, which means the man didn't finish. He raped her, but he did not ejaculate in her, so it was an uncompleted act of intercourse. Okay. He added that it was improbable that a rape would occur on the 1 or 2 days of the month in which a woman would be fertile. And then the third reason Mecklenburg gives you is that a woman that is exposed to trauma of rape will not ovulate even if she is scheduled to. I'm not making this up. This is quote unquote, like I'm reading it quote unquote. A woman that has been exposed to the trauma of rape will not ovulate even if she is scheduled to. Like I said in my last video, we have a fucking off switch. And our ovulation will not happen because we are raped. So what if we decide with our partner to have rough sex? You know what I'm saying? Oh, choke me, baby, hit me harder, do it harder, deeper. So I'm not going to ovulate then? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Oh my God. Okay. The article continues on to say a host of other researchers dispute Mecklenburg's conclusion, both on the scarcity of pregnancy following rape and natural defense to prevent conception. You think? From a scientific standpoint, what's legitimate and fair to say is that a woman who is raped has the same chances of getting pregnant as a woman who engaged in consensual intercourse during the same time in her menstrual cycle. That is said by Dr. Barbara Levy, Vice President for Health Policy at the American Congress of OBGYNs. One widely accepted study suggests a 5% pregnancy rate following rape, resulting in 32,000 pregnancies each year. The report was from a medical university of South Carolina and was published in the American Journal of OBGYNs and cited by the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But placing an exact figure on post-rape pregnancy is problematic, primarily because rape is thought to be underreported. Another factor is the availability of over-the-counter emergency contraception, which can prevent fertilization when taken after intercourse. One study from the Journal of Human Nature in 2003 suggests pregnancy rates are higher after a rape when compared to consensual sex because of the inconsistency of birth control use. Mecklenburg article was one of 19 in a book called Abortion and Social Justice, published a year before the U.S. Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade decision. So, abortion and social justice. And I wonder out of how many of those 19 articles were written by men. I really need to research that. Because these are all men trying to make decisions that should be based solely on the woman who has been raped, who is carrying someone's child. This is bullshit. And I'm tired of men thinking that they can make that decision of what the fuck I can do with my body. If I'm raped tomorrow, I should have the decision not to keep a rapist child. Which I would decide to do because I'm not strong enough to love that child as I should. As if it was made out of love, like the rest of my children. Like, I just am not that strong of a woman. And for a man to tell me different, fuck you. Seriously. And if you guys sit there, and women in particular, sit there and vote for these assholes to be in office, then you are guilty for the next generation of women that are going to have to live with these babies that are going to be coat hangered out of them, that are going to be in back alley abortion clinics, that are going to have, the adoption rate is going to be ridiculous. The women are not going to carry these babies if they don't want to. They'll find a way. So the abortion is going to happen regardless. It's just going to be in a back alley, unsterile. Like, that's what they're setting this up for. That's what is going to be the next generation solution. Right now we have a choice. If they get in office, we will no longer have that choice. And that's bullshit. And you go ahead and vote them in office if you want to. I need you to hear another snippet. Again from the Young Turks.
Frank Jabot is running for sheriff in New Hampshire, and he believes that it makes sense to use deadly force to prevent abortions. Let's watch what he had to say.
The sheriff is supposed to be protecting the citizens. Deadly force is the last thing that law enforcement should be using. If a citizen's life is in danger, they need to be protected.
So what you're saying is, in the last case scenario, you would use deadly force to stop an abortion?
If that is the, again, if there's no other choice, that's what's needed to protect the citizen.
God,
Why is there a difference
I love this.
between someone who is 20 years old and their life is in danger versus someone who is 9 months in utero?
Well, I'll explain that to you in a second. But I love that in the beginning because he's like, look, it is the job of the sheriff to protect the citizens. That's why I would shoot a pregnant woman.
No, does he? But he's so moronic on so many different levels. Okay, first of all, the fact that he doesn't understand what irony is hilarious by itself. But I don't know if he knows this. If you use deadly force to stop a woman from having an abortion, that baby will also not survive.
I know,
You fucking idiot.
He's so dumb. He's like, you have to understand how pro-life I am. I'm willing to kill 2 different people to show it. Okay, and because he thinks that the fetus is a life form, but obviously Anna's right. I mean, forget the 9-month scenario. He would do it under 3 months, 3 days, etc. There's no way the baby's going to survive. You're going to kill the mom and the baby. What the hell is pro-life about that, you moron? Okay, and then second of all, look, he says 9 months, but at 9 months, the baby's being born.
No one's having an abortion at 9 months.
And it's not legal to have it at 9 months. It's not legal to have it at 8 months, 7 months, etc. So that's nonsense. But you know, before the baby can survive on its own outside of the womb, they always say like, well, it's alive just like any other life. But no, it isn't, because it can't survive without the mother. It's not an independent life form like everything else. If at 3 months or 3 weeks you take it out of the mom, go, ha-ha, yeah, and you put it in a petri dish, you know what happens? It dies, because it's not a life form by itself. It's just not. They don't understand that simple science. I mean, but expecting this guy to understand science?
I feel bad for those who make pro-life arguments because they get grouped in with lunatics like this. I believe that there are people out there who are pro-life, who are reasonable individuals, who do believe that it is a life form, right? But then you get grouped in with this idiot, and then everyone makes blanket statements about pro-lifers, right? Now, of course, there comes a certain stage in the pregnancy when that fetus becomes viable outside the womb. Okay, once that fetus reaches that point, if you want to ban abortions after that, I'm all for it, unless it threatens the mother's life, okay? Or if that fetus has significant birth defects or something like that where it doesn't have
It's not going to survive anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No, look, viability, it's not an accident that we got to that as somewhat of our standard, our loose standard. You know, it's according to Roe versus Wade, it's 2 trimesters, but that's basically a way of saying viability. It's because if you're an independent life form, of course, then the mom does not have the ability, should not have the ability or the right to take away your life. So, you know, when a baby's born, for example, somebody still has to take care of it, but it doesn't have to be that woman. It could be anybody, right? Once the baby's viable, anybody can take care of it, then the woman does not have rights over it. But as long as it is not viable without the mother, it is dependent on the mother, it should obviously be the mother's choice.
And there you have it. Another man, GOP candidate, saying that he would kill the mother. So if she's walking into the abortion clinic, by any means necessary, he's going to stop her from going into that abortion clinic, even if it means shooting her dead. There's nothing else for me to say. Like, you guys already hear how idiotic that is, right? Young Turk already said it, like, then you're willing to kill 2 people because you're so pro-life. Seriously, people, like, when November comes, if you vote for these people, more power to you, and especially if you're a woman, more power to you. If you're a father and you actually love your children, like, more power to you to put these men in office, because this is how they think. We have no rights over our body. Is this really the biggest subject in 2012? Not the deficit, not jobs, not health insurance, but women's bodies and how we go about bringing children into this world, or not? We should have that decision. Like, we should be able to make that decision. Not these fucking men who are trying to go in office and tell us what we can and cannot do. From a 1972 report from another dumbass. Man. I'm just like, I'm pro-men. Like, I love men to death. But not when they're in power and they're trying to be in power and they're trying to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. Like, that's where I lose all respect. That's where I draw the fucking line. And you guys go out there, and I don't even want to make it political, but it is a political thing. It is. You don't hear Joe Biden and Obama saying, you know what? Any means necessary. Shoot and kill if you have to, but we're going to kill 2 of you instead of the one that's inside of you. What's the difference between a 20-year-old and a 9-month in vitro baby being baked in the oven? What's the difference? I don't need to explain it. I really don't. Like, if you ever went to health class, if you ever had your period, if you ever had a child, if you're a father, if you're a mother, if you have common sense, you know how the body works. Like I said in the last video, we don't have an off switch. And if we get raped on the 1 or 2 days a month that we're ovulating, we're getting pregnant. Bottom line. And of course, it's lack of contraception because what are we carrying? Fucking the morning after pill or the abortion pill or birth control or condoms just in case we get raped? Take that out my left pocket before you do this. I mean, common sense, people. And you go ahead and you make that decision if you want to, and you vote Republican if you want to. But as a woman, you're setting yourself up for failure. And especially the next generation of women that are going to be my 18-year-old. For the next 4 years, do we really want Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, Aiken, this Frank Szabo dude? Like, do we really want them in power? Just think about it. That's all I have to say. Like, I had to bring this to you because it's not enough women talking about it for me. And I don't understand why. Because the election is a couple of months away. And for it to even be possible that Mitt Romney will be in office scares the hell out of me for my 18-year-old daughter. And for every generation after her. For my 9-year-old. For my 7-year-old boy. That would scare me. Because this is a whole nother... Yeah, Bush might have fucked up our fucking deficit. He might have fucked up during the whole terrorist attacks. He might have fucked up those 8 years. But put Mitt Romney in, it's going to be a repeat. Plus, the devastation of women. The devastation of our finances. I'm not middle class. I'm not upper middle class. I'm not rich. So, I have no chance. Like, I have no chance in the next 4 years to see any benefit of a Republican in office. I'm not going to benefit from that. Your daughters and sons will not benefit from that. Not only does most of my family fit into every category that I despise about, like, that I need Democrats for, which is insurance, which is college funds, which is everything that's happening right now in this election means something more to me than it did when I was 18 and I was voting Democrat. And you guys, go ahead. Go ahead. You guys put them Republicans in office if you want to. Because Obama did such a bad job. And I really can't see what he's done bad when I'm actually benefiting from what Obama has done. Just because you don't see what he has done doesn't mean he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything to benefit you. But he damn sure done something to benefit me. Do you think Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney are going to be any better? Just think about it. Deuces.